Hello everyone. Today's wire weave that I'm going to show you how to do is this pyramid wire weave. So it looks like this. So you can kind of see we get these pyramids after each other, building them up as we go, or you could call them mountains, whatever you want to call them, it's up to you. I just look at them kind of like pyramids, and the back looks like that. So nice and similar on both sides. So it doesn't matter what side you use. So if you want to learn how to make this weave, then keep watching. So to make this weave, I'm going to be using 4 base wires here of my 1mm thickness wire. This is just what I'm going to be demonstrating with. You can add more base wires in if you want to, or even use less as well. But this is just what I'm going to be using. And then also we need our weaving wire, and this is just a 0.4mm thickness that's going to then weave around the base wires. So we then need to start out taking one of our base wires here, and then also the weaving wire. I'm going to work towards one end of my weaving wire. Just put that behind my base wire, and we just first of all need to attach this. I'm just leaving a short tail to hold on to. So I'm just going to wrap my weaving wire around my base wire here, just about once or twice, until I come back down towards the bottom again. And then we need to start adding in another base wire here. So I'll grab my next one, place that above the previous one, and then we have them line next to each other. And then I just take my weaving wire coming from behind down below. I need to go across the top of both of them here then, like this. Come all the way back down behind again, and I'm going to go around once more, like that. So I wrapped around both of them together now twice, and again my weaving wire is coming down behind them both. Then I'm going to add in my next base wire above the previous one. So again, I'm just stacking them on top of each other here, but lying next to each other when you're looking at them from the front. Then the weaving wire is coming out behind and then down behind and below all the base wires there. What I'm going to do is actually go all the way to the bottom again, and then weave across the top of all of them. Now with this weave, you want to make sure to not pull your weaving wire too tight, because obviously then what will happen, your base wires will start to kind of close up the further we get, and we need to still be able to get the 0.4mm wire in between them further on as well, but we're going to get to that. I'm going to go across the top of all of them, again not pulling too tight. You'd rather just guiding the wire here, laying it where you want it to lay, down behind all the wires, base wires, around the bottom, over the top of them again. See, I'm just kind of laying the wire how I want it to be, around the back all the way to the bottom again. So I've now wrapped around the single one on its own, the very first one, a couple of times, then around the bottom two twice, then around all 3 twice. Then I'm going to grab my last base wire. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm coming from behind down towards the bottom, so go around the bottom there and all the way around the front of all of the wires, the base wires. And again, just guiding my weaving wire, not pulling it, because then that'll close up the base wires there. I'm just opening up the wires at the side. Makes it a little bit easier to weave in between. All the way to the bottom. And again, once more, because we're doing it twice around every time, every step that we do. Guiding my wire to go all the way around and down the back of all the wires again. So this is now my last base wire that I just added in. If you want to add more base wires, then this is the point where you just keep going, adding in another base wire and then another one until you reach the top, your last one. But then you're going to then start doing the same that I'm going to do now. We need to step back downwards again. So far we've been stepping up. Now we're coming down behind all the wires with the weaving wire, going around the bottom again. And then to step down, we need to come down in between the top 2. So basically, we're doing the same wrap now that we did just before the wrap around all of them that we just did now, the last one. We're doing the wrap just before that, so on the other side of that. Again, just try and guide your wire, lay it across rather than pulling on it. Once more, remember we're doing 2 wraps on each step, down in between the same place. Always push your wraps down together like this though, so it becomes nice and tight. Down behind the 3 wires now, base wires, coming up around the bottom again, up towards the top. Now we're stepping down again. So I'm going, basically every time we're stepping down, we're just stepping down one wire of the base wires that we need to go in between. So in this case, because I'm using 4 base wires, I'm going in between the middle of all of them. So between the 2 middle ones there. And then push that all the way down, making sure that we're still keeping our spacing. We're not pulling on the wire. Go around the bottom and down in the same place. And this is the point where, really this is the main point where the reason why I say don't pull on your wire, but rather guide your wire, because now what we need to do is come down between the bottom 2 wires again. And because we've obviously done a little bit of wrapping here, where the bottom wires haven't had a wire in between them to hold them apart, like the kind of when we step up or down, so they can tend to kind of want to close up. So that's why I'm saying guide the wire instead of pulling on it, to try and avoid that happening, because then we need to come around the bottom and down between the bottom 2 wires there, and then just around the bottom wire on its own. As you can see there, my wires have bunched up a little bit, but what you can do is you can take some pliers and then push the bottom of your weave here nice and tight, because then that will open them back up. Go around it once more, because then we're on the bottom here, and that's pretty much the same as the other side. So this is one complete section basically. Now what you want to decide as well is how much space you want in between each kind of pyramid here that we're making. You can either have them right next to each other, so start the next one straight away, or you can continue a single wrap around the bottom wire for a little while until you want to then do the next one. You can just count your wraps if you want to have an even amount in between each pyramid here. But then I think I'm just going to do another, say, 2 wraps around the bottom one, so that'll be a 4 in total, just to space them out a little bit. Like I said, you can do whatever you want. Then I want to start the next pyramid, and basically we just do the exact same thing. We'll go around behind and around the bottom, and then we want to wrap around the bottom 2 wires on their own. Do a double wrap around them. So I'm going down in between the middle 2. Again, making sure to guide your wire. Coming all the way down behind those, around the bottom again. Stepping up once, so now wrapping around 3 wires instead of 2. All the way around the bottom. So we got the 2 wraps, getting all the way to the bottom, until we then have all of them incorporated. Push your weave nice and close together. Do it once more. And now we need to step down, so working our way downwards again. And then I just go around the bottom of all of them, but then stepping down 1. So I'm just wrapping around the bottom 3 wires again. Just like the same on the other side of the wrap that we just did. Do that twice. Another tip I just kind of want to give you as well then, if you find it difficult to keep the space in between your base wires even, so what I just showed you there, where they can kind of want to close up, one way to try and avoid that, if you struggle kind of just having your weave not too tight, is to actually get a separate piece of your point formula, because all you need is enough space to get a point formula wire in there. What you can do is, as you're weaving, just a scrap piece, it doesn't have to be anything special, leave that in between the wires, so that when you then tighten your weave, get it up between there, when you're then pulling, well not pulling, but when you're guiding your wire around to do your next wrap, kind of leave that wire just in there, because then that will make sure your wires don't get pulled together. So for instance, I've just done the last one, I need to step down 1. I need to go down between the middle ones to wrap around the 2 bottom ones on their own. But before I completely do it, I can then just add this scrap piece of wire and then make sure that these 2 base wires don't get pulled too close. Now obviously it's a little bit more tedious having to keep taking this in and out, because then I need to go around again, down in between, and then you maybe want to put it back in again to make sure they don't get pulled too close, while you bring the wire all the way down to the bottom there. But it is an option to make sure that your base wires don't get pulled too close together. And then obviously go back down to the bottom wire to wrap around that on its own, however many times you then choose to. I'm going to do the same as the other time. So that's 4 in between until I then start my next pyramid again. So there we go. That's how you're building your pyramids here. So you just want to keep doing this however long you want to. I'm going to get a bit further on and I'll show you what it can look like. So then now that I've kept going here, you can see it can look a little something like this. So you get a really nice effect where you kind of have these pyramids after each other, one after the other, or mountains, whatever you want to look at it like. And it looks like that. And then the other side is pretty much the exact same, so it doesn't matter what side you use really, and it gives a really nice and different impact this. So that's how you make this weave. It's a pretty simple technique, you just got to get the hang of how to do it, so regarding the base wires there so they don't pinch in together. So that's how you make this. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful as well, but otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this Aztec wire weave, and it looks like this. So it's a really nice and decorative weave. It's pretty simple to do once you know the technique. You get these little triangles or pyramids going all the way across. So if you want to learn how to make this weave, then stay tuned. So to make this weave, what we'll need first of all is our base wires, and in this case I'm working with 4 lengths and they're all 1 mil in thickness. Now you can easily work with